Welcome back, everybody. I'm Professional Wrestler Chris Wild here with another video on Eagles news now, trying to navigate through the noise here on bar 4133. Let's talk about practice today for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we are just 18 days away. 18 days till week 1 of the NFL regular season, where the Philadelphia Eagles face the Washington football team. Now, today's practice was a lot more entertaining and noteworthy than yesterday's snooze fest. Let's get into the injuries, as the Eagles had a major injury to the defensive line, as defensive end Gennard Avery got carted off the field with a knee injury. MRI was done. There is no ACL injury. The extent of it is not known at this time. It looks to be very serious. Also, the tight end TO, as I call him, Josh Perkins, is now out for the year, put on IR with a season-ending injury. Tough for him. Thoughts and prayers go to both those guys. Everything else was pretty much the same. Sidney Jones appeared at practice today, not in pads, so didn't do anything with the team drills, but he's there, so hey, that's something, right? Let's get into the big stuff. Let's get into the interesting stuff. As the thumbnail said, it was code red zone for JJ Arcega-Whiteside. He had an amazing practice with 3 touchdowns hauled in, including what many are calling the catch of the camp, when he caught a bullet from Carson Wentz one-handed and kept his feet in bounds for the touchdown. He looks like an absolute different player right now. He is trying to solve the mystery of what happened to him last year. That's for sure, as I've been one of his biggest doubters. It looks like he's starting to turn the corner. This is just practice, and he still has a lot to prove, but he's on his way on doing that. The team seemed hyped for him, as in the end zone, Jason Kelsey and Corey Clement came up and gave him some praise. Also, Quez Watkins, who in the beginning of the year, it looked like he was going to have a fight to get onto this team. He is, if you ask me, is a lock at this point. I've always been impressed with his red zone ability. He caught a couple red zone touchdowns today. So good stuff for Eagles wide receivers. And while we talk about Eagles wide receivers, let's also mix a little Carson Wentz in there, as Carson Wentz is having some awesome chemistry with these young guys. Threw a long bomb to John Hightower, and Hightower it was a very contested catch that he made at the 2-yard line. Also, we talked about the touchdown to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and he's also continuing this chemistry with rookie sensation Jalen Reagor, as they connected quite a bit at today's practice. From what I hear, Wentz seems to like him better in a slant than deep, but then again, they're not really throwing deep that much in camp this year, so we'll see. Wentz also struggled with his accuracy, as he seems to have done on many days in training camp, and he's always had a problem overthrowing guys. It seems to be a little bit more this offseason. It could be because he came into camp a lot stronger, as he overthrew some guys in the end zone, Zach Ertz being one of them and Greg Ward being another. We'll see what happens with that. If he can just get a handle on that, we should be okay. I mean, I remember Donovan used to throw to the ground a lot, but it seems like we got the opposite with Wentz. But there was more good than bad when it comes to Carson. Let's also talk about, Carson before I forget. He did throw an interception to one of my favorite players the Eagles got this offseason, and that is Nikel Roby-Coleman, who has stood out for the corners. And while we're talking about defense, might as well talk about this defensive line just continuing to dominate. Joe Osman, let's knock on wood that he can actually stay healthy and make it into the season this year. Is having another great camp. Today, though, a scary moment when he bull rushed Andre Dillard, who just continues to struggle, into the back of Carson Wentz's legs. No big, nothing else happened. No big injury, thank God. But definitely a scary moment there. Joe Osman continues to look good. Andre Dillard continues to struggle, and the offensive line is a question mark for the first time in years going into the regular season. We'll see what happens there. Nate Sudfeld had a decent day today, up and down. Jalen Hurts has kind of cooled down a little bit, more good than bad with him. The running backs, Corey Clement continues to impress. Looks faster, looks stronger, more like 2017 Corey than 2018 and 19 Corey that struggled with injuries. This would be big for the Eagles and might be a reason why the Eagles haven't signed a veteran running back. Also, Elijah Holyfield, who is And look, his dad was a fighter, as we all know. He is fighting to make this team. And I think he fits in. I think he makes that fourth running back spot, as Mike Warren really hasn't done anything. And the Eagles are still trying to find a spot for Adrian Killens, whether it be wide receiver, return specialist, or running back. Elijah Holyfield has looked the most consistent. He unleashed a spin move on Sean Bradley that absolutely destroyed him, and he had a really awesome long run with that. I like Elijah Holyfield. As you can check back in the archives, I did a video on him. I think that he definitely makes the team this year. Yesterday, I talked about guys that I picked 3 guys from Jimmy Kenzie's article of guys that have done nothing in camp, not one thing to stand out, and 2 of them I actually have to talk about today. One being defensive end Sharif Miller. Now with Gennard Avery out, Sharif Miller's stock goes up a little bit, and he actually did something during today's practice when he actually beat Matt Pryor for a would-be sack on Carson Wentz. So Sharif Miller definitely taking advantage of some increased snaps. And then the Eagles waived linebacker Dante Olson, who I talked about yesterday. Obviously, he just wasn't fitting in with the team, and they had to waive him to make way for defensive tackle T.Y. McGill, who the Eagles officially signed today. So also, one of the big things that was brought up today with some reporters is that there really hasn't been a drop problem with the wide receivers this year. As we remember, drops have been a huge deal for the Eagles for a couple years, and you've normally seen it in camp as well. I don't know if it's Aaron Moorhead being the wide receiver coach now, but there has not been that much of a drop problem, if any at all, for the Eagles wide receivers this year. So that is an encouraging sign going into the 2020 season. A couple guys to look out for. Prince Tega, I'm not going to murder his last name, so we'll just call him PTW, offensive tackle. And then defensive end Casey Toohill. These are all day 3 draft picks that had an impressive day today. I've been hearing Toohill's name a lot. So I think I've pretty much said everything about today's practice, guys. It's a little late here at Bar 41-33. I'm going to get going. Guys, stay healthy, stay safe. Go Birds. As always, I'll see you later.